Hi there, it's Connie with The Creative Scene, and today I'm sharing with you a really dope adventure that I just came back from, where I e-biked up Mount Diablo and camped for 2 days solo, so I could take some really dope pictures for an upcoming photo exhibition that I have here in San Francisco. So I have been a very happy owner of a Class 3 e-bike, the Vitilan I7 PRO, for about 2 years. This bike completely transformed my life here in San Francisco and made it so much easier to get from place to place. This was the first time I've used it to go camping, and I feel like I really put the bike and that technology to the test. This was also my first time camping by myself. Even though I've been camping from a really young age, I've never gone camping alone, mostly because I don't actually have a car. It was definitely really fun to see my own skills put to the test and seeing how well I could survive on my own for 2 days. Finally, what spurred this adventure is I have an exhibition coming up showcasing Black people in nature, and I used myself as a test subject because, while I like to be out in nature, I think it was just really fun to experiment different types of shots on my own with a really cool setup that we're gonna get to in this video. So I hope you keep watching and press subscribe if you're interested in more things nature, photography, and adventure, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Preparing for this adventure took a lot of work. One of the things I was doing is, because I'm moving soon, I decided I wanted to clean out as much of my pantries as possible. So I picked out everything I had and tried to bring as many of the things that I hadn't used in a while with me. And then I also just bought a couple things here and there just to make sure that I was okay food-wise for the few days that I was up the mountain. For anyone who doesn't know, you should always bring extra food while camping, even if you just really don't think you're gonna eat it, because if an emergency were to arise, you wanna make sure that you are well prepared to be out for a lot longer than you think you're gonna be. So my adventure began in San Francisco. I took the train from San Francisco into Walnut Creek. To go up the mountain, I decided to bike down into Danville. And then go towards the south entrance and up the mountain because it was a little bit less steep. So I've just arrived at Mount Diablo. I'm at the south gate. It is extremely hot out here. I'm very surprised by the weather today. It's summertime everywhere but SF. I shouldn't be that surprised. Here is the entrance, and I have some ways to go that way before I get to the campsite. So before I go up, I'm doing a quick top-up charge for my bike. This is a system that it's being tested as we speak. So I have here a 200-watt power bank, which isn't a lot. It's not going to top me off completely, but it should help at least bring me back up to 70%, which will be really helpful in the long run. This is a DC converter. So the one that I was able to buy in time for this trip, it's a car charger. The input comes in here, then goes to charge my bike over here. At the same time, I'm having it replenished with a little bit of solar energy just to try to take the most amount that I can from this little charging session. But I plan to completely fill up that battery once I get to the campsite later. I learned a lot about energy while trying to figure out how to do this. So my battery and a lot of e-bike batteries take a DC input. And so the charger that you receive in the mail is an AC to DC converter. What does that mean? If I were to have plugged my regular charger into the battery, it would waste a lot of energy, basically converting to AC and then back to DC again. However, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. You can't use a regular DC cord because in order for the bike to take the power, it has to come at a much higher voltage. And so this amplifier takes the native 12 volt from here and converts it to 57 volts, which is what my battery takes. It's been like 20 minutes and I got like 10% battery, which is pretty good considering this is a very experimental way of charging the bike. And so now what I'm going to do is charge the generator as I'm riding. Simply because it's free sun time, I'll have to wait for it. As I need it, I can stop and recharge the bike since she's only on like 60% right now, which given the hill is expected. I have arrived. I spent my 2 days camping at Juniper Campgrounds, which was beautiful and really close to the summit. Y'all, I have made it. Oh my god. I think the motor makes it seem like it's still not hard, but that was a test. That was over 3,500 feet of elevation. Yeah, that last mile was a kicker. But we're here, bike's here. I wiped out down below, so it took a little longer to get here than yeah, it just took a little longer to get here, but let's set up, and I'm excited to spend a couple days here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do before I get into anything else is set up the bike to charge. It is now like in the single digit percentages, which is I think the most I have ever pushed it. So I'm gonna set up the solar panel and the DC outlet charger. It'll probably be trickle charging all day tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be nice and charged for the ride down. Do 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 do. I like to personally cover up when there's mosquitoes out. I feel like bug spray does some stuff, but honestly, just giving them no access always makes life easier. YouTuber Connie is beginning. Alright, and just so you can see this mayhem one more time, I'm leaving the solar panel out while the sun is still out, and then basically the first moment that I can tomorrow morning, I'm going to stick it back out there to finish charging up this bad boy. In the meantime, I'm hoping that this can trickle charge to just better than what it is right now. As you can see, we really tested my battery this run. It's showing 15% now, which is already an improvement, but I was down to I think 8%, which is, again, I've never tested my battery that much before. Now it's time to get this tent set up because I gotta sleep somewhere now. It's been a long day. Basic science, but first and foremost, I'm gonna lay down a tarp. I got myself a new one, and this one is really small. It's only 5 by 7 feet, which is useful because, as you know, these guys can get quite large, but like on the bike, definitely trying to reduce the amount of space things take wherever possible. I'm debating right now because part of me wants to take up space, and the other part of me wants to not be super hot first thing in the morning. It is really warm today. I was not expecting this heat. Let's check out one more location. Yeah, so I decided to move over here because it's covered by the trees. Especially when it's super warm out, there's nothing worse than first thing in the morning, you're trying to get some rest, and it's like 90 degrees inside your tent. I'm trying to put it where I think I'll get at least a little bit of shade for the first part of the morning, because at least that way I can sleep until 8 or 9 o'clock, which I fully intend to because your girl is tired. Next is the tent. Ladies and gentlemen, the tent. So there's some other things in this bag, so it's a little bit bigger than usual. I bought this tent for this specific purpose. I've actually had this for about a year. I bought it last year after I went bike camping for the first time, and I really like it. It's cute. It's small. It's pretty tiny, but I fit, and that's the most important thing. So it almost feels like this is longer than it is wide. I'm just gonna slowly start putting it down on the ground and hope for the best. I do love pitching tents though. Now just to get these anchored, and then we will start on putting in the poles. I love this tent because it's really lightweight and compact. It's definitely only for a single person, but that is me. I am a single person. What I really wish I had right now is my power drill. Maybe when I upgrade to motorcycle camping. Now to put on the rain cover. Even though I imagine it's pretty hot today, I likely will have this thing more or less open for a good chunk of the night. Luckily, attaching the rain cover is pretty simple. You just clip everything in place. I have this great inflatable mattress. You have to blow it up by breath. So that's kind of the one thing with this baby. Yeah, requires some air. I'm gonna blow it up and stick it in there, and then we'll be just about good to go. Gets me every time. Let's pop that inside. Home sweet home. Alrighty, now for the pillow. Brought a blanket too, even though it's much warmer than I thought, so I might use this as like a little extra. Oh yeah, the sleeping bag. Duh. If you haven't picked it up already, my favorite color is green. By far. It's such a good color. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this in. Alrighty, the living quarters have been set up. I am going to clean up a little bit and then get started on dinner. Okay, we are back. So I am getting ready for dinner. My dinner is going to be relatively simple because there's a fire hazard this evening. That means that I can't really burn flames openly, but you can burn charcoal. The only thing is I didn't bring charcoal, obviously, because I'm on a bike. So I'm using an emergency, essentially like cooking kit, and I'm going to use a freeze-dried meal that I brought with me. I have set the little block on fire. The stone behind it is because there's a little bit of wind coming from that side and I don't want it to burn out faster. And the pan on top, that is just so the water can boil a little faster. But it says it should work in about 8 minutes and then I will open up the fridge. Okay, it's time to eat. Man, am I hungry. I made some extra noodles because I haven't really eaten today. I'm gonna throw the pad thai right on top. 850 calories and 42 grams of protein, which is pretty good. But again, I biked all the way up here and I haven't eaten, so. Not bad. Never had one of these freeze-dried meals before. I don't know if it's actually good or if I'm just really hungry, but this is slapping right now. Dried peanuts on top were a nice touch. After enjoying my little campsite meal, I was ready for bed. All right, good day, good afternoon. I slept pretty good. I went to bed pretty much after eating dinner. I took a shower and then just wound down for the evening. Unfortunately, I was surrounded by a party crew who kept me up probably until about 1 o'clock in the morning, blaring music and bad karaoke and things like that. This is a general PSA. If you go camping, please respect your neighbors. Just please. I know everybody rents their own spot, but I was very, very sad to be surrounded by that much noise yesterday. But it looks like everyone's gone this morning, and luckily I did manage to put my tent in a very shady spot. It's not shady anymore, but this morning this was completely covered by shade, and that allowed me to stay inside until about 10 o'clock, which is when I got up. It is hot today. Really, really hot. I think it's actually cooled down a little bit since I've gotten up, but I think I woke up and it was immediately like 80 something degrees. So as you can see, I have changed the configuration of my bike charging. So originally the plan was to use the solar panels to charge a backup battery and then to use that backup battery to charge the bike. I realized though that this converter would probably be much better used directly charging the bike. And what's really cool about this is I think it's actually working a little bit more effectively than the charger directly. I'm at about 35% right now. And given that when I got here last night I was at 20%, I am pretty happy with the progress so far. I think by the end of the day, I expect to actually be at a 50% charge, and considering that there is nowhere to plug in here, and it is literally just the sun powering this bike, that feels pretty cool to me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited by this concept of solar power charging my bike. My bike takes 48 volt, but in order to really make the power stick, it needs to be higher than the volts on the battery. And so the charger that I have normally that plugs into the wall is at, it's roughly like 54.6, but given how slow that this is charging, I feel okay using a 57 amplifier on the output to the bike. So that's how it's charging right now. I have bummed a campsite. As you can see, there is no shade back there. Literally the campsite right across. I've been here for a lot of the day. I had my breakfast over here and I've been starting to work on some shoots. This particular visit is mostly pleasure, but I'm also working on some new photographs for a collection that's really showcasing Black people in nature. And so I have been working on that slowly. It's much nicer over here. First of all, this table has shade, which is already a big improvement because you saw there's no shade over there. So there's lots of shade and it's really nice actually. Like, I think if I were to come here again, I would prefer this campsite over the one that I rented. And even though it's close to the bathrooms, like, I originally picked my spot because I wanted something close to the back rooms that felt a little secluded, but I think you still get that over here, especially if you go towards this side of the grounds. It feels like you've got some seclusion over here. So today I'm going to be working on some self shoots, and so I have my shirt inside out. I'm about to hop in the tree and take some pictures, and really, yeah, it's just to show us enjoying nature. A little earlier I took some pictures over there along the field. I waited until no one was here because I also took a couple pictures naked. The concept is pretty cool. I'm not going to show exactly that setup in this video just to keep it family friendly. The camera setup that I used was a really good format to take photographs that may feel difficult to capture when you're working alone. Given the intimate nature of the pictures that I really wanted to take, it was really nice to feel like I had complete creative control over the shoot and the image of my own body. In the meantime, I'm going to spend some time here, and I brought a little baggie in case the folks who actually have this campground, I don't think anybody has it reserved. If anybody does, it'll be pretty easy for me to move out of here and find somewhere else that's shady. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so that was an example of one of my self shoots. I'm whispering because right now I'm using my camera to record some video for me. I love taking long form video shots while I'm out in nature. And I'm gonna flip this around so you can take a peek. So right now the camera is shooting up and through the trees. It's getting a bit of that glorious sunlight and the leaves rustling. Eventually I want to put together a series of just like relaxing nature vids, and so it's fun to collect these because usually it just requires me being in place for a really long time. Luckily today I'm not really moving at all. It's pretty hot, and I think because I exerted so much energy just to climb the mountain yesterday, I'm feeling like, especially with the heat, I just want to enjoy where I'm at and not move. And that's very uncharacteristic for me. I'm usually like, go, go, go. Part of this trip is allowing myself to just be in place and chill, and even though I've barely moved like 20 feet, I'm really enjoying this day. And I think because it's a Tuesday, there's very few people out here. I think when I go hiking, I usually look for quiet, you know, like I think we go on these long hikes for quiet, but I'm getting that right now, and I think that's very nice to just know that I didn't have to go any further than I've already gone to get that. Okay, so I found a spot that I really like. I think the only thing is it was hard to find an angle that more or less like would make it not so obvious that I'm on a campground and would feel really naturey still, but I think I got it. I want to walk us through now this remote setup that I've got. Here's the camera, and I'm going to be sitting over there, and it's currently pointed in that direction. You can see the preview on the screen. So the way that I've done my self shoots, I like to use remote shooting with the Creators app from Sony, and I use this, I set it up in advance, but I'll connect to the camera and then boom, I can actually see exactly where I'm trying to shoot. I like using this app because it allows me more or less to be my own subject, but also feel like I have enough control over the shot without running back and forth. And then I can manage the shot from my phone. So traditionally, when trying to shoot on my own, something I ran into a lot was focus issues and make sure that I was still in focus. So instead, what this allows me to do is sit where I'm going to sit and allow me to be in focus while at the same time like having that creative control. So I set up the shot beforehand on the tripod, and then I can actually review the images on the phone. So if I don't like something, I can just go and fix it and then come back. I like to use my old phone because sometimes it's really hard to find a place to hide it where it's out of shot. So I'll often just chuck it, and because it is my older phone, I don't feel so bad about it. Now time to shoot. And there you have it. I was enjoying myself a lot just now. The photos look calm. I was feeling very calm. It was a nice spot to sit. Okay, that's enough BTS for now. Alright, so a little update. So I ran into a ranger. In general, if you ever have a question at campgrounds, just ask the rangers. They're super friendly, usually, or at least will do their best to answer your question. And I asked if there was anywhere I could literally just plug in the battery. Since at the moment, the solar charging does work, it's just really slow, and I want to make sure that I have what I need to get home. And so there's none up here, but what I did find out is that there is an AC outlet down close to actually the entrance that I came in. So I think for tomorrow, the plan is going to be to go down there, make sure I can get charged up to 100%. I think that puts me at ease because that means that I will have a full battery before I leave the park, and I can, for the most part, now just enjoy the rest of my day and not worry about it so much. Power is the one thing that was a challenge for this trip. I had a bunch of backup plans, like I had the battery, I charged at Danville Library before I started climbing the mountain. Even after all that, I chose to try to ride with as much low power as possible just to try to conserve the battery that I did have. But even so, I think just like the sheer elevation to get up here really pushed the limits of my battery. And so while I was able to get up the mountain, right now I'm focused on how I'm going to get back down. It's slowly charging with the solar panel. I think actually because it's so hot today, it's even slower. There's enough UVs out, but I think the solar panels are starting to overheat a little bit. That's just a good note for me. It works, but sometimes this technology does have its limits. So all good lessons, and luckily I've got plenty of backup plans for how I'm going to get home. Finally cooled off a little bit. I decided to go on a hike. I've more or less spent today by the campgrounds, but I was feeling like still too early for dinner and I could probably use a walk. So going on a walk, and this is the end of the Juniper Trail. It's really beautiful so far. It's a hike of about 900 feet elevation, and it's about a mile there and a mile and change back. So hopefully by the time that I'm back, I'll be nice and ready to eat. I'm snacking on some mango slices, and yeah, just enjoying this chill walk and these gorgeous views. Look at that, so pretty. Getting very close to the summit. It's actually right behind me. It's funny because I was looking at that and I was like, no way, that's it. And honestly, it's not too bad. This particular trail I have enjoyed, even though it's really just like the last mile of it. So almost there. I have made it all the way to the top. Whatever that thing is kind of ugly, but there is a gorgeous view that awaits me. Let me go find it. I have made it. I'm not gonna lie, I am very confused of what this is. It feels very like there's supposed to be something cool, but really it's just a parking lot. I know that there's a view a little bit. I'm gonna walk around, search for my beauty. Absolutely gorgeous. Been hanging out here for about 30 minutes, and now I'm gonna hike back down and it's time for dinner. So as I was descending from the top of the summit, it was about sunset, and I knew I had to get back pretty quickly because I didn't want to hike in the dark. However, it was so gorgeous out that I had to stop to take a few photographs, and I'm really proud of this picture that I've taken. I know it doesn't look like much, but I want to first show you what it looks like before processing, because I think that folks don't realize that there is some work that goes into my images after the fact, and it was so so pretty out. I was really excited to pop this one into post-production and turn it into this. So for dinner tonight, we are having another freeze-dried meal, mostly because I am tired. I also don't know if I'm going to use these if I don't use them right now. Might as well eat them. I'm throwing a little extra pasta in there because I've only really eaten one meal today, which was some oatmeal that I had this morning, really afternoon, morning. And I'm working on my little fire setup. Essentially, I'm burning the tiniest fire that I possibly can get away with, just so I can boil some water for my food. The water is finally ready. Let us get it. So today's is chicken and dumpling. I've added some pasta in there to just add a little bit more food. Ooh, that smells good. I have my chicken dumplings. Bro, food lockers work. I just watched a raccoon try to get into mine, and all my food is protected. Oh yeah, look at that coming out, baby. Hot sauce is good too. Alright, it's good. I decided I want a dessert. I'm having a Legendary Foods cinnamon roll. I love these. Each one's also got 22 grams of protein, which is awesome for a dessert. So they're about this big. I think it's a pretty good size. I personally think these are way better if you warm it up for like 10-15 seconds, but the mechanics of that I'm not doing right now, so I'm just gonna eat it. I would really like to make sure I'm like super duper full, especially before bed. Getting food in the middle of the night just requires a lot more mechanics. Also, I can sense that this particular campsite is swarmed with raccoons. I've been hearing footsteps for a while, so seeing that guy come out actually helps me know to like make sure I eat, otherwise he will help himself. Okay, so yesterday I was definitely too tired to go into this. So this is the setup. It's definitely a one-person tent. You can see I have my sleeping bag and the air mattress, which makes the ground a little bit softer. It's pretty hard ground. And then I laid down a blanket to make it a little bit softer on the ground, which combined with a few layers really helps. I have my little camp light. What's nice about this tent is there's a lot of pockets, as you can see. It definitely leaves little room, but definitely I scooch back to where it actually be. My full body without having to really scrunch. So that's pretty much all I've got in terms of this camp setup. I really liked it, and tomorrow we go home. I'm excited for the next time I can go on an adventure like this. Good morning, world. So after 2 days, I am about to break down. So I'm up a little bit earlier today. I got up really late yesterday, and there was basically no shade over here by the time that I was awake. The hope is to break everything down while there's still shade over here, and then I'm gonna roll down the hill so I can charge all the way up. I'm probably gonna be there for at least a few hours, have lunch, and then head home. Okay, so I am all packed up. The last thing I'm gonna do before I roll out is check my tire pressure. The bike's been sitting there for a couple days and it's been really hot, and I think just like the heat sometimes makes the pressure inside, well, it actually makes it expand and contract between the temperature changes, and also just because there's been so much stuff on the bike, I want to make sure that everything is good to go before we are up and rolling, because the last thing I need is a flat that I could have prevented. Okay, let's get rolling. So I decided to do my recap here since I have to wait for the e-bike to charge anyway, but just want to share just like basically the lessons and the summary of what I've learned from this trip. Overall, this was a really, really great adventure and first time backpacking and camping alone. I have been an avid city e-biker for quite some time, and I've used my e-bike to get pretty much everywhere where I live, combining it with other forms of transit, usually the train, to travel to places that I did not think were possible without a car. And so I would definitely say this trip really pushed the boundaries of that vehicle and my understanding of camping, biking, hauling stuff, and essentially just like figuring things out. So I think in some ways I was really prepared, some ways sometimes a little over prepared, and in some ways I was super under prepared. So let's talk about the ways I was over prepared. I had plenty of food, and I still probably have enough that even if I wanted to stay an extra day, I could. I had plenty of water to drink along with other sources of energy like yerba mate, got my second one here, and snacks and things like that. So I feel very happy with the way I packed food. Where I was not so prepared was I think I didn't have the right tools for being able to start fires. What I didn't realize, because I'm from the East Coast, even in the heat of the summer we're able to still burn fires, is that here for most of the summer you can't burn fires, which meant that if I wanted to eat, I either had to have brought propane or I would have to use the world's tiniest fire to make anything work, and that took a super duper long time. I think I wanted to respect the fire rules because they're all for really good reasons, but at the same time I had to eat, and the only thing I had was that pot and that little emergency stove, some fire starter. The next time I do this, I probably will invest in a little propane stove or a little camping on the go stove just to make that process much easier. So the one thing I would say that I really underestimated the challenge of was figuring out how and where to charge my bike. Before I started climbing the mountain, I charged my e-bike up in the Danville library. Whether or not you live in the town, public libraries are open to the public, and as long as you follow the rules, you can use the space however you see fit. And so I sat there for about an hour and a half and charged my e-bike back up to 100 before starting the climb of Mount Diablo. I had several methods for trying to charge my e-bike on the go, which included knowing some of the outlets. Also, it included, I looked at some of the e-chargers for cars to see if any of them had like an AC plug, and none of them did. I tried charging via the power battery, which I knew wouldn't get me all the way up, but would still be pretty good. I tried solar charging, and it got me up about 20% total, and that was like over the course of a day, and that's still not nearly enough for me to be able to descend the mountain. I'm also just like really good at going outlet hunting, and I could not find an outlet anywhere until I decided to finally ask the ranger where outlets were, and they pointed me to where I'm sitting right now, which is the reason why I'm able to have enough power to complete this trip. So I would say for now, I don't feel like I have totally mastered yet figuring out how to charge my bike on the go. And so I think that I'm gonna say if you are looking to go e-bike camping, make sure you just spend the extra time researching where you can charge your bike, because that alone is probably what caused the most amount of stress this trip. I really enjoyed being able to just work on my photo adventures. It was a really good time working on the self shoots. I'm working on a series of photos that are showing Black people in nature. It was nice just for me to work alone. I've been working with community, and mostly I just like to shoot the plants and the rocks and the trees. And it was really nice to just find those moments where I could just be very present in the process, not only just the photo shoot, but just where I was. And I really enjoyed taking the photos, and I'm really excited to show those in my upcoming exhibition. Okay, that's all for now. If you enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe to learn more about my practice and work. I'm hoping to do way more adventures like these in the future. Enjoy some views of the descent and some of the B-roll that I captured while I was on this journey. Okay, bye now.